So wonderful. Good morning. Good to see everyone. So this morning I thought we could go over questions and answers relative to the Tranquility and Insight, or the Shamatha Vipassana meditation we've been studying, and or the Tonglen meditation that you saw the video last Sunday about. And as we do that, first I wanted to say a little bit about the significance of retreat. So we've been working with these wonderful books, Pema Chodron's How to Meditate, and His Eminence Thrangu Rinpoche's Tranquility and Insight. And they are clear and detailed instructions, and Thrangu Rinpoche is very detailed. But as we get deeper and deeper into the meditation, it can be a little confusing if it doesn't coincide with retreat, because these instructions are meant to guide an unfolding exploration of your mind, which really only can happen in silent retreat. So if we were to start with, what is the view? What is the view of Buddhism? The view of Buddhism is that essentially we have an inherently perfect, vast, spacious, luminous mind that is peaceful and unchanging in its peacefulness. This is certainly not what we experience day to day. And that the nature of this mind, the aroma or the fragrance, is unimpeded compassion. So, if that was if that was so easy to see, we wouldn't need meditation. But it's not so easy to see. Mostly we are distracted all of the time, and the characteristics of samsara is this underlying distraction that is a movement outwards, a movement away from our original nature, which is this spacious, luminous peacefulness. So then how do we return to our nature? And the shamatha and vipassana has to do with settling the mind, focusing the mind, and then learning to see all the different qualities of obscuring conditions and distractions that are covering over this immense clarity. And once we have settled our mind, we penetrate those obstructions with vipassana investigations. So I know once we reach the vipassana section of the book, of especially Thrangu Rinpoche's book, there was a sense of wanting to bring this into solving our daily life's problems, but that's not what vipassana is meant to help with. Vipassana is in that quiet settledness, turning your mind inwards to see directly the obscurations or the clouds that cover nature of mind, to penetrate them and dissolve them. And so when we're working with a book like that, we have to distinguish what are the elements of our practice life. So our practice life might have daily meditation. And the shamatha instructions are extremely helpful for daily meditation. How to settle your very distracted mind, and how to notice the different kinds of distractions, particularly the emotional distractions, and come back to a settled mind. And even within that, we have myriad techniques, and each of them approaches from a slightly different way. So that's helpful in daily meditation. Also, the Tonglen meditation that we were doing, and you notice in our Sunday meditation and in our Tuesday and Thursday meditation, there's always an aspect of bodhicitta or compassion or loving kindness meditation. Here on Sundays, it's when we read that beautiful excerpt from Shantideva. So the Tonglen meditation addresses that quality of our mind that is the nature of compassion and the nature of loving kindness, which we combine into the term bodhicitta. And if our nature is unimpeded compassion, what kinds of trainings do we have that help us expand and open up that flowing of compassion, as well as notice when it does become impeded, what are our stopping points or breaking points. And so it has a twofold exploration. On the one hand, training like a muscle so that our natural response becomes more consistently in harmony with our nature of generosity and kindness and compassion, as well as, just like the Vipassana, pointing out where is the moment and what is the cause of the stopping. And so in that way, we can see every different kind of meditation is still working towards the same goal, which is releasing all of the obscurations, penetrating them, returning to that beautiful original nature that is unimpeded compassion, and approaching that from many different perspectives so that we have ways to continue to open, explore, and grow. So similarly, we might want to go into retreat with the Tonglen meditation to see what is the key obscuration. And if we were to say the purpose of retreat, whether we're approaching it from the perspective of loving kindness and compassion or from the perspective of shamatha vipassana, it's to return to that original nature, which is perfect and always was perfect, but along the way, we moved from that. And the moving from that movement is the creation of self and other. So in the Vipassana, we're looking directly at how we create self and other. And in the Tonglen, we're also noticing that when Tonglen becomes impeded, it is impeded in the relationship or the fear associated with self and other, and what limitless compassion might be in relation to self and other. So that key always goes back to our original nature, vastness, interconnection, unimpeded compassion, seeing a self and seeing other with limits and boundaries and fear, and all of the friendship and enmity that arises due to creation of self and other. So in retreat, because we're silent, because we're creating as simple a life as possible, we can spend all of our time looking to see how is that relationship with the phenomenal world, the relationship with other, how and where does it arise in subtler and subtler and subtler ways. And the significance of this is so obvious in that all hatred arises from that, and from that hatred, all wars and enmity arise. All greed arises from that. All of the afflictive emotions in every way arise from that. And our Tibetan tradition is very interesting, and within that, the Kagyu, and our particular Kagyu, the Drikung Kagyu, is very interesting in that we place a really high value on retreat. So all of these months we've been talking about meditation, and now we're preparing as a Sangha to have a 10-day retreat. And that would be a taste of retreat. In that amount of time, we can really see the potential of our mind to settle, and we can see hints of both the clarity and the confusion and the origin of that clarity and confusion. In the Kagyu tradition, the first big experience of retreat that might follow would be as much as you can do. 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and then we have the traditional 3-year retreat, which is then followed by another 3-year retreat, which is then followed by another 3-year retreat. So actually, one of the great meditators said to me once, well, those of us who have finished 3-year retreat, we're considered beginners in this tradition. It's the people who've done 6, 9, 12 years of retreat. And I'm saying this just to say that then we're looking at Thrangu Rinpoche's Shamatha Vipassana manual that's not meant for 30 minutes on a Sunday. It's meant for a practice life, and ideally a practice life that includes retreat. And within that includes more and more extensive retreat. At the same time, it's helpful to see the full extent of the Shamatha Vipassana manual, because it is it's a guidebook for our experiences. So let's say it's a guidebook if we were going to travel around the earth, and we might go as far as New York, or we might fly over to Paris. And, when we're in Paris, we might remember reading about Paris. But its usefulness would be for the whole globe. And what is tremendously interesting about the founder of our lineage, Lord Jigten Sumgun, is that his view was that every single meditation session should have the components of the whole guidebook. And so over time, with our consistent daily practice or a consistent Sunday practice, there's a recurring pattern that deepens. And even if you choose to do a morning retreat or an afternoon retreat, you're always going deeper and deeper with that pattern, uncovering in your direct experience the truth of the Dharma and the truth of the path that's in the whole global guidebook. And in our meetings on Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, but on Sundays, we have been looking at a series of texts, and we began with text Shantideva that was the, let's say, the world-class guidebook on compassion and loving kindness. And now we're working with the world-class guidebook on what is the source of that confusion that impedes the compassion that we would like to see in our unimpeded heart. And later, probably early next year, we'll be going further and introducing a Tara meditation. What is it like to experience meditation from the perspective of the Vajrayana? So there's a sense of our growth as a Sangha, whether you are coming intermittently or for all of the different texts. And each of the Sundays is designed to give you a complete pith instruction. And over time, there is a sense of detailed instruction. And over time, there will be more and more opportunities for retreat. So although everyone can't come to the 10-day retreat, my hope is that in the spring, we will start regularly offering some half-day retreats, as well as continuing the opportunity, perhaps annually, for longer retreats. So I'd like to open, before I open to general questions. As I said, the Sangha is offering a 10-day retreat, which will incorporate the 2 Sundays that are upcoming. And although it is difficult to go through all of the stages of meditation in daily life, it's not impossible. So the great Theravadan teachers who taught Goldstein and Cornfield, who are the American pioneers of Theravadan meditation, we might say, or who popularized it. They were housewives in a huge apartment building in the middle of a city, but they arranged their lives so that as soon as the kids went to school, they were in silence, they were in retreat. And they taught their families how to stay in retreat, and then gradually everyone in the apartment building started asking for meditation instruction. So one can set up one's daily life as creating the conditions for uninterrupted mindfulness and retreat. And the next 2 Sundays, while I'm away, we'll be playing the movie For the Benefit of All Beings of His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, who used the context of imprisonment and torture to go through the whole world guidebook on meditation, to accomplish complete union with the nature of mind in the middle of the most harsh conditions that we might imagine. You could say in the middle of Gaza, or in the middle of Guantanamo, might be close to Guantanamo. And so it's a longer movie, and we're dividing it into 2 parts. But it's a tremendously I don't even know how to describe tremendously inspiring to see how he was able to use the conditions of this extraordinary situation to gradually become so clear and focused on seeing the nature of mind. Their descriptions of him lying on the floor and the other people in the cell playing cards on his stomach. And he would be holding meditation in the middle of that chaos. And in fact, if any of the guards saw anyone meditating, they would be arrested, or already arrested, they'd be tortured. So there's that opportunity. And then we will probably complete the text on shamatha and vipassana during October. And after October, I will go into solitary retreat again for a month to prepare for the introduction to Vajrayana. So you can see there's the sense of the Sangha life, understanding the importance of retreat and creating retreat conditions for each other, and then the leadership of seeing His Holiness, who is holding responsibility for the Drikung around the globe, going into retreat for another 3 to 5 years in the coming year. And in that tradition, and being of the same tradition, seeing that before one opens a new stage of teaching, then one also goes into retreat to abide in that state for sufficient amount of time. So that's a lot, but just to say, it's a preview of how we're working with this text and why we're going into retreat for the next 2 weeks and why I'll be going into retreat in November. So we'll close the live stream now so that people have privacy to ask questions. Bodhicitta, excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.